Hey, how's it going, everyone? Brad Smith here with the Relationship Marketing Podcast. Super excited to be joined with Kevin and Nick, the Mattress Guy. How are you guys today?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
You guys are in my new studio, new podcast studio. Thanks for hopping over. And you're my second interview. So
Yeah.
I've never had dad and son on, so that's really cool. Owners of Direct Outlet, and I actually found Nick on Twitter, X, which is my new favorite place to hang out. I guess my first question, which I tricked you guys, I didn't tell you this, but Kevin, what do you think when Nick says I have a friend and you find out he hasn't met him in person, he just knows him from X?
I always question them, but it's a new world, right? Friends don't have to be ones you've shaken hands with and worked with forever. Yeah, you can build relationships, obviously, over the internet.
I like building a relationship either in person or on the internet and then swapping it, right? Now we get to meet in person, shake hands, and now friends in real life, not just on the internet.
Yeah.
I always like to have actionable questions here. So we're going to dive into where you guys are in the business and everything. But what is something that somebody always asks you? It's a common question about a mattress. Maybe something you can give them quick advice on, with or without your help from there.
Yeah, typically people are just confused, right? They're confused about, is this a good mattress, right? It's always basic questions. Will I be happy sleeping on this? And it's so subjective in nature. What I typically have people do is just go and lay on some. And then, especially for people on Twitter, send me screenshots of what they like and kind of walk them through the process. That's why we're experts in mattresses, right? Just like you are with advertising, et cetera, right? So for me, it's all about how much can I take from them in terms of what do they like, because their body can tell them something different. You're gonna lay on a mattress and you're gonna think it's hard, and I could think it's soft, right? It's subjective in nature. So once we get through that, then I kind of walk them through. Okay, well, this is what alternatives look like, and kind of go about that way. But it's very much a case by case depending because everybody sleeps differently, right?
Yeah.
A pregnant woman's gonna sleep completely different than you are, right? So yeah.
That's a good answer. And Kevin, you've been in this game for a while. You were telling me you started in what, 89?
89.
As the mattresses or the questions that your customers ask you, have they changed since then? Are they all pretty much the same thing?
No, I think they're all pretty much the same thing. It's because of the internet and you can buy stuff online, things become a little bit more convoluted. But I try to tell people, look, you really got to try it. I mean, comfort is extremely subjective. And, a lot of times people like to bring their friends. I'm like, well, does your friend sleep with you? Because your friend's opinion doesn't really matter based on your opinion. Because everybody's different. I mean, some people like it harder, some people like it softer. And it's our job really after we, kind of qualify what they like comfort-wise to make sure we're guiding them towards the right quality and the right durability. That's kind of where we shine.
I mean, that's true for any business is help solve your customer's pain point and help them get there as quickly as possible. And then from there, they're going to tell their friends and their family about you. Now, you've been doing this a while. I'm sure you have plenty of stories, but could you share like a story of you helping a customer get a new mattress that maybe they came back with and shared with you?
Yeah, there's been so many stories over the years. I'm getting all forgetful is one of the things that happen. But I know I do have one that I helped a friend out, and she didn't think she needed a firm bed, but she had a lot of issues with her back. And then fast forward to like 6 months later when I saw her out randomly, she's like, I cannot tell you how great I'm sleeping. Now, this is someone that was like kind of against what I was recommending, but I'd listened to her issues, as far as sleep habits and maybe pains or whatever, and said, this is where you need to be, whether you like it or not. All too often, everybody thinks they want to sleep on a cloud, and clouds don't necessarily offer that support. And, support is really what you need at night, because if you're not getting support, you're constantly turning in bed, trying to get comfortable. It's really your subconscious telling you to flip to get more support.
I like that. And Nick, you also shared a story with me recently. So Nick, the mattress guy, that's how I know you from X. It's cool. You're not actually helping people in person, right? You're just helping people that reach out on X or on the internet. What's a story maybe you've heard so far?
Yeah, I mean, well, I had that one recently where we were saving money, but I mean, another one of one of my buddies, he was just waking up with migraines and just headaches and couldn't get any sleep, because kind of what I just alluded to was he was sleeping on a mattress way too soft. We went the complete opposite. He even hated it the first night, and I said just give it some time. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, he's like, dude, I love this mattress. I'm sleeping finally. I have no headaches. I can go to work and actually be happy. And that to me is what matters, right? For me, like I measure life based off of lives impacted. That's a life impacted, right? By a simple mattress. So,
I appreciate you sharing that because, if you help him and you impacted his life, and the struggles he was going through, he's your evangelist. He's going to tell everyone about you now.
yeah,
And he's not
it
telling
does.
them. And you mentioned I have stories about saving people money, which I want to get into next.
Mhm.
But he's not going to be telling people, "Oh, Nick just helped me save money.
Right.
He helped me with my pain and also saved me money."
Yep.
So, Kevin, get into how you were telling me before the show how help people save money with the mattress and maybe some misconceptions they have when I'm just looking for the best brand out there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've realized over the years, being through many factories, is no one has any trade secrets. There's no real special thing out there. Like I don't walk into a factory and then they pull the curtains back and say, he can't see this, you know. So it's really what we do as opposed to the brands that you can find in any, XYZ store. On any street corner, we actually go out and find the hidden gems. We find the companies that our heritage families have been passing it down from generation to generation and are doing it right. And they're grabbing the same specs that all the fancy name brands use. And they're building it the right way. And so really the difference is that, the brand names, how do they get to become a brand name? They, you know, basically brainwashed everybody by national advertising over the decades, and that costs a lot of money. I don't know the last time you checked on different advertising expenses, but they're through the roof. And the people that pay that are the people that go into the fancy stores on the fancy street corners, which are called A+ locations, that they pay more to be in. And so ultimately, the customers that go to retail might get a brand name, but they're paying the highest price they can possibly pay for that sort of sleep.
And also, we all know it doesn't matter just this industry, but the brands, the higher you go up on the brand, the more you're paying with all the different, for any business. But then I think more and more people are starting to feel like, for me, I don't want to go into a mattress store because I feel like it's almost like a used car sales place as well. So, is that kind of what you're hearing when you're selling online? Like, I don't want to have to go in and be sold to from these sales
Yeah.
reps.
And so, like, what I'll do is if people really are completely adamant on, not, I'm like, okay, well, then you need to tell me comfort wise where you're at. From an extra firm to a luxury plush, where do you fall in? And if they can tell me that, then we can set them up, right? If they can't tell me that, then I do send them to one of those big stores, have them try out a couple of different models of exactly what, but I just tell them, hey, tell the salesman to go on his own and do his thing or whatever, and you just go try these, send me pictures, and we're done, right? And they're in and out in 15 minutes, and it's not as painful as being there with a salesperson who's trying to sell you on their $13,000 mattress and adjustable base and yada yada yada. And it's insane.
Yeah, if I could add to that too, what the big brand retailers train their staffs, and usually the staff are young people straight out of college or not, but they tell them, look, we want to sell the most expensive beds, and you never want to prejudge anyone. So every person that comes through the door, you take them to the most expensive, regardless of what that customer said. You take them to the most expensive. Now, keep in mind, there's usually 40, 50, 60 choices on the floor. So if you start at the very best, and then they're like, oh, yeah, I don't want to spend that kind of money. And then you take a baby step down and another baby step
It's worse and worse and worse.
and well, but the thing is, what happens subconsciously to that customer is they're like, oh man, how low of a quality bed am I going to buy? Because they started them on a really expensive bed. And that's just not that's the way of doing it in retail world because they do have all that overhead they have to pay for. So that's why they train their staff. Look, start at the very top. Don't start in the middle. Don't start at the bottom. You can get people to spend more money if you take them to the top as opposed to starting at the bottom and trying to step up.
Makes sense.
So it's just a way of doing the game.
Just anchoring pricing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you see a $6,000 mattress, well, then 3,000 doesn't sound bad, right? So
Well, that's why I definitely wanted you guys on the show. I love meeting honest business owners and ethical business owners. That's the key. They're watching out for the pain points and even for the money too. How do we save the money? Okay, so I shared with you guys, my wife and I were in a really bad car accident. So the first thing we thought of was sleep number bed. And it really wasn't the argument between she wanted soft and I wanted firm, even though we did find out we're opposite, like everything else in life. What would you recommend to somebody that thinks, oh, maybe I need to go with one of those technology beds or a sleep number that is very expensive? Are there other alternatives or any other recommendations you have for them?
there's definitely other alternatives under our direct outlet brands that we have. What it comes down to is comfort, first off, and then I'd say more so a little bit more digging and research. Right. I've had a lot of people come to me about brand new set and talked about leaking and all these kind of faults in their product. And that's the same for a lot of these other marketing companies.
Yeah.
And I say marketing companies because I really don't look at them as mattress companies. They've been able to come out with a product that's a little different, but all of them are all the same in most capacities, and they just market them very well, right? So what we try and do is figure out, what are their comfort needs, but not all this other fluff, right, to it, and just get very specialized with the person. So
And the product that you're talking about is when I have a couple and they agree to not agree on anything, one's completely hard, one's completely soft. That is the product that gets around that niche, especially if they're only wanting a queen size or, and not a king. So when it's a king, there's many things you can do. You can do basically a split king where we find out the right bed for you, we find out the right bed for your partner. And because, there's a lot of things you do in life as a team. Going to bed, you might go to bed at the same time, but you don't do it as a team. You're like, get on your side of the bed and, and you pull your pillow and your blanket. And so comfort is subjective with everybody. And I think it's our number one job, regardless of even what price they want to spend, is what do you call comfortable? The worst thing you can do is come off the bed right now that's at home and you're not comfortable on it, and then spend brand new money on a new bed and not be comfortable again.
I like that. So can I just call it, you guys didn't repeat the name. You both said that brand you talked about. Now it's not just them. There's other brands I found out that are like that. And could you break down for me? Because I asked about, is it just a technology play that they're doing? But can you break down what I'm actually buying inside that brand's bed?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of a glorified bladder from the Army days, if you will. It's an air tube. They'll probably have some proprietary words for it, but and it's an air chamber, hooked up to your electricity that pumps air. All of these things have potential for breakdown.
Yeah.
But then to make it become more of a mattress, they decorate it like most mattresses are. Then they even come way up over the chambers and put pillow tops on there and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's an air mattress, and it's you can change your number. If you have the misfortune of a unit leaking in the middle of the night, it'll make a noise that'll kind of probably freak you out, and or you'll wake up and you will feel like you're in a hammock, and then you got to pop it back up. So
That's happened.
there's trade-offs.
There you go.
Unfortunately.
there you go.
I've sunk before. Titanic, I'm sinking in the middle of the night, and now
Not a good feeling.
you gotta go sleep on the couch.
And that doesn't happen on a memory foam higher mattress, and if it does, then there's a structural defect,
Yeah.
right, to a mattress. But it's again, it's just marketing gimmicks, and that's why we don't pay it any mind or say the actual name brands, because they're out there marketing and that's all they do. They don't need any more marketing from us.
I mean, think back to years ago, water beds were huge. Where are they today?
Yeah, those were lame.
Right.
Those are the worst. Yeah. So have you ever sold a waterbed? Did you ever sell waterbeds at your store?
We sold a long time ago. We sold some tube water beds. I never sold the full bladder, which is just one, and you feel like you're on the ocean. And but didn't get too deep into it because even back in the day when I was just working for someone else, the writing was on the wall with waterbed. In fact, I was in Chicago. I mean, that was Waterbed Central.
Oh yeah.
Peppers Waterbeds was a big one, and we had them on every corner, but they just slowly but surely faded away. It's technology that just passing.
Well, Mom, if you're watching this, Mom and Dad grew up. They had a waterbed. I was growing up, and let's just say chiropractor's dream.
Okay.
So every week they were at the chiropractor twice a week. My entire life growing up. So I think chiropractors should do the branding for waterbed.
Yeah.
Chiropractor approved. They'll have the stamp and everything. Chiropractors associations.
Let's see your sentence.
You know how much money chiropractors make from waterbeds every week? What? And I'm sure they don't ask what type of bed you sleep on.
And that's another thing too. We get that all the time too. Chiropractors say firm, or chiropractors say this. I had a chiropractor, and he's like, "Dude, it's all full BS." You know,
money.
And it really is, because at the end of the day, if you're gonna tell a pregnant woman, right, who can barely sleep on her, I just had this customer the other day, who can barely sleep on her side because her shoulder hurts, that she needs something firm. And then she's sitting there and she just hates the feeling of that firmness up against it. And you're telling her that's the best thing for her? Sorry, you're wrong. And I don't care if you got all these certifications or not. Her body's telling her something different than what you're recommending, right? And so that's why there's not a one size fits all for everybody, right? It is very subjective, and it is comfort dependent for each person. And so we walk them through that process, and we hold their hand along the way. But at the end of the day, we save them a ton of money, and we save them a ton of time.
I like that. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do I need it? When do I hit the point? Because I actually don't think about this. When I need a new mattress. How many people probably don't even think, oh, maybe I need a new mattress? When is it time I should actually think about getting a new mattress? 5 or 10 years after I bought the last one? If I have back pain? Maybe when I move because it's easier, more convenient that way?
Probably a little bit of everything you're saying, but when you wake up and you're in a hammock, it's time to change your mattress. If you're tossing and turning all night long, it's time to change your mattress. If you're sitting on the edge and you feel like you're falling off, it's time to change your mattress. So mattresses are the most used piece of furniture in your entire house. And oftentimes, we buy all the furniture to look good in the house, and last thing we got, we look at our wallet and we're like, oh boy, okay, where's the cheapest mattress? It's kind of the wrong way to go about it, but it's human nature, So usually you want to probably start thinking about replacing your mattress every 6, 7, 8 years. But because nothing lasts forever. I mean, think about how much money you spend on your car. What kind of a warranty does that come with? Take 3 years. Yeah, that's it. And it costs a lot more money than a mattress. So
we're all thinking, we all are the first ones to go buy a new phone every year, every 2 years. We always like the popular brand stuff. So whenever a new brand comes out with the new Nikes, we want to go buy those new Nikes. And so we wear shoes every day. We use our phones every day. Something I've actually been thinking about is we got lucky enough to get a steam shower at our house we moved into. So I use a steam shower almost every day. But you never would think to install that. But another thing you use every day is a mattress.
Yeah.
And by the way, that affects how you feel the next day too, and your sleep. But it's crazy how many people, and for myself, I'm actually mad at myself right now. I haven't thought about it in 6 years, I think.
Well, what's the say you always told me?
Well, my grandfather told me a long time ago, long before I was ever in the mattress business, he says, there's only 2 things in this world that you gotta worry about, and you gotta make sure you don't cut corners out. I'm like, it's just 2 things. Grandpa hit me. I can remember that. He goes, don't cut corners on your mattress and don't cut corners on your shoes. He says, because if you're not on one, you're on the.
That's awesome.
And to this day, I tell a lot of my customers that because it's reality. And this is long before I ever thought I was going to be a mattress guy.
Video editor, make sure you cut that part out. That's a quote right there. We got a quote. Was it you said your grandpa?
Grandpa.
We're quoting grandpa.
Yep.
That's the hook.
Look, this cool thing about this in our family business. He's been doing it 36 years. Josh, I think, my brother, is out in Raleigh. So my dad's here in Wilmington with his shop. My brother out in Raleigh, been doing 14, 15 years, something like that now. I've been doing 5 years out in Charlotte. We actually had his dad for the longest time out in Anniston, Alabama. He was 84, 85 years old before he stopped doing it as well in the shop out there. Family business, like that's it, right? Um, my mother wished it stopped, at him, but man, it's been the best thing. Like getting up and being able to call my dad or my brother and talk about mattresses or talk about it, like just gives us all a reason to chat every single day, right? Obviously, family stuff as well, but that's the blessing. All right, that's why we do it. And then we bring that same approach to all of our customers, right? And just like you do for your clients, the family for us, I care about my people sleeping great. Like I had another guy who bought top of the line from me. He spent like a good amount of money. He spent like 3 grand with me. And he's like, I really hope this is great. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, he's like, dude, I'm sleeping like a king. And I'm like, that's it. That like that's what I do it for, right? And that's what he does it for. That's what my brother does it for. My grandpa.
Yeah, part of the passion of this and the boys being at it with me is we're always looking for the next great company.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about, it's great to sell high-end mattresses. We also focus a lot of energy on the lowest price mattresses. I'm going to try to make sure we're giving a far better value than our customers would get if they walk into a retail store. And that takes a lot of energy because, companies can't survive making low-end mattresses. They just can't. It's got to be a product mix. So we constantly focus on finding, the next company that helps us take the level up in our business.
When he says low end, we mean low end, like $197 at a queen.
Really?
Low end.
Well, there's people that need that.
100%. Absolutely. Warriors are.
That's awesome.
It is funny. Someone asked me, an advertiser a long, long time ago, asked me, said, well, who's your targeted audience? I'm like, 0 to 80, deaf, blind, and crazy. We sell all. So what's your target audience? It's the lower price, it's the mid price, it's the high price. We don't put, obviously we'd love more high price customers, but it's not reality.
No.
So you got to take care of all of them. And plus, everybody's got kids. You don't buy a kid a $2,000 mattress.
No. We don't recommend it.
Because when you're not looking there, it's a trampoline.
You're not sure.
I'm glad you guys brought that up because my wife and I, we have a nonprofit. And what she does is she's a designer. So she'll buy a home that needs work. She'll fix it up. And then she'll let a family in need stay there for a year or two rent free. And then what we'll do is we'll sell that and she'll do another one for another family that's in need. So I wish I would have known you guys in August because a family, a mom has 5 kids, lost their whole home in the hurricane, St. Pete. So they drove here. We had the home available. We took off the market. They've been staying there since. First thing I did was I started calling mattress company. Do you have a $100 bed, $200 bed, even asking for donations on them. So there's times when maybe people just need to donate a bed or have a low cost option for people that are in need.
100%. And now you know, yeah. Right.
Well, now I know a couple guys. I know a whole family now.
You know, a whole family.
Family from Chicago. They're taking over the East Coast now. I love it. All right, so break it down for somebody, just simplest forms. Okay, I think I need a mattress. Just walking through the quick steps if they called you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in person, right, they're meeting us at our store by appointment, getting specialized time, and then we're taking them through a comfort test, figuring out what they call comfortable, figuring out their budget, and then kind of assortment from there. If it's online, they're reaching out to me. I hop on the phone. I call them myself. I talk through what their needs are. Is it for themselves? Is it for just a guest bed? Those are 2 different things. Guest bed's like, okay, bing, 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 bing. Let's get it in your house, right?
Sorry, mother-in-law.
Yeah, exactly. But if it's for them, it's like, okay, well, do you need to try something out? If you do, here's where I recommend to go. Here's where I recommend to try. Send me pictures. Boom. And then we hop on another call and it's done. So, we take what really could be, even in our store, a lot of people go to all these stores and they go for, I just talked to somebody the other day who went to 6 stores. Dang, right? And you're spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It's analysis paralysis, right? And so they just keep going on and on. What we're doing is taking that process, 10 to 15 hours in a store, right? another 10 to 15 hours beforehand of researching in quotations because they don't really know what they're looking at, right? And we're saying, okay, in our store, an hour and a half, depending on the person, really, or even 15, 20 minutes. This is all it takes, or 2 phone calls, done, right? Um, and that's it.
What about so that's one thing I did think about. Okay, I haven't we use a mattress every day. But mattress is more expensive than shoes. I'm sorry I didn't touch on that. Do you offer any financing?
Yeah, we have financing options as well.
And one thing that he didn't touch on, but that I'd like to touch on is, is as far as your time's important, my time's important. So one thing that I try to basically request or really kind of demand is, look, if you're looking for a mattress for yourself, you and your partner, don't come alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Unless you want to be like the retail and go to 15 different stores, bring your partner with you. It's a team decision. It's a decision that you both have to be there and communicate together. And also it's, the comfort may be different. Hopefully it's not. And then oftentimes I try to find out if one member has more problems or issues with sleep than the other. And then if so, I tell them, look, we got to cater a little more to your partner for sure. And typically most of the guys are like, whatever she wants. And until he gets home, then they're like, you pick it. So it's, we got to talk and qualify through all that stuff. But it's always very important for me because my time's very valuable. I'm a one-man show. I do my own deliveries, etc. I don't have time to, sit down and go through everything with you. And then, let's schedule another time, come back with your wife. And then, maybe you want to get your daughter's opinion. So, that's a good point.
That happens in in any business is somebody's talking, wasting your time, not wasting your time, spending time.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to go ask my wife. And then I have to go ask my business partner.
Yeah.
So
It is wasting.
it's wasting time. Does do it all together.
Everybody behind is valuable.
Yeah. And I started doing that more now with people I talk to on Twitter. Typically it's guys, right, reaching out. But I'm like, I know who the boss is, right? And so you got to get talking to the boss as quick as possible. So I've had them just start putting like both of them on the call with me, and let's figure out all the details, everything that needs to be.
By the way, the boss is not the guy.
No, it never is. It never is. That might be the price conscious person, right?
Yep.
But in terms of who's actually making the decision, never is.
Yep. Well, that's good. Make sure everyone's involved when you start, and you shouldn't make that decision on your own, anyways.
Right.
So, well, I also try to caution them if you're picking lock for your daughter, and your daughter has great case. Bear that in mind if you're bringing her or him. Liz, they're gonna have you open up your wallet, and you might not be ready for that.
It might be champagne, titties, and beer, but
I've had many parents say they're gonna get what they get, and so just their own side stuff in mind. Everybody's got an opinion.
Exactly. I appreciate you guys coming on the show. And I think, anyone watching or listening, direct outlet, and just reach out personally. I think it's cool what you guys are doing. What's the website?
directoutletmattresses.com.
Okay. And then the X profile, that's where you're
Mattress Guy.
the Mattress Guy. I love that name.
Yep.
And anyone watching, definitely probably start thinking about this more than every 10 years, right? Sounds like you guys got the solution to speed it up, do it the right way, save me some money, maybe get me some financing, make sure it gets done right.
Well, and that's the key, every 10 years because it's very pricey. But if you can get it at the right price, maybe you could do it every 5 years. Because staying on a fresh mattress, believe it or not, impacts your day, impacts your life, impacts your job. For sure. If you're not getting good sleep and you go to work grumpy, good luck.
No one's going to like you then.
No one.
And anybody locally, we have the stores. My dad operates Wilmington, my brother in Raleigh, and myself here in Charlotte.
All right. So North Carolinas. Yep. Wilmington, Charlotte, Raleigh. There's a Wilmington, Delaware. So don't want to confuse that.
North Carolina.
North Carolina team and family business. So thanks everyone for watching the show. Thank you guys for being on. Support local businesses, good people like this. And I hope to see you on the next one. Make sure you go follow them and reach out when you need a new mattress. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.